Hello, everybody, and welcome to Premier League Predictions. It's a big welcome back to the channel for the Premier League Predictions. A big welcome back to Mikey, who had the temerity to become a father. So you need to say congratulations to him in the comments. And we've kind of given ourselves what football really needs, given ourselves a bit of a pre-season break, Mikey. The last round we did, well, the last round you did was 16. Then you mailed in the predictions for 17, and then baby appeared. So the running scores, if you can be bothered to remember, I won that round 5-4. But frankly, with what you've been through over the last few weeks, I could just make up any scoreline and you would believe me. That put the weekly scoreline to 8-6 in your favour. I went over 100 though. It's now 101 to me, 107 to you in the aggregate. And therefore, it's a big welcome back, Mikey. Congratulations, but more importantly, you're still winning on the predictions.
Yes, thank you, Ben. And what I've been doing is the last couple of weeks, I've just been running the clock down. I had plenty of time to come on here and do predictions with you, but I thought, if I can skip another match week, I'm edging closer to the end, and I'm still in front, but only just. But yeah, back properly now. I think it was five weeks with probably 8 or 9 match weeks that I've missed. Feels like, but yeah, good to be back.
He is channeling his inner James Trafford for you EFL watchers, whose shoelace just happened to come undone at the exact point Sunderland had a penalty the other day. And he's stuck to that story in the post-match interview. You love to see that type of housery. Get involved in the comments with your own predictions here. Excuse me. We'll put all the fixtures down in the description so you can do a nice, easy copy paste. Get your predictions in. You know how the scores work. It is 1 point for a correct outcome. Home, away, or draw. Give yourself 3 points if you get the scoreline correct. Good luck. It's harder than it looks. Give yourself a bonus point. 4. Wonder if one of these might appear at Anfield in this load of predictions if your scoreline has 5 or more goals. Mikey, this is beautiful. These two ex-EFL teams absolutely bossing it at the moment. Bournemouth versus Forest. They're both brilliant.
They are, and there can't be many sets of supporters happier than Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest in probably the entire football pyramid at the moment. Bournemouth defying injuries, they're unbeaten in 10. Forest just defying the odds, and they're sitting pretty up in third, and just appear to be in a flow state. Everything just seems to be working as it should do for them, and they're putting away the weaker sides in the league, and then really going up against the teams at the top as they did against Liverpool a couple of weeks ago. Um, it's been a decade, though, since Forest last beat Bournemouth, would you believe? That was in 2015 when Bournemouth got promoted. I feel like I've done this one before, Ben, talking about Forest's weird record against Bournemouth. And partly because of that, but also partly because I think they're both in a position where they'll see a point as a good result. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here.
I better scribble out my 1-1 I've got written on my pad there, Mikey. I think so many people are going to go 1-1 on this one because it's so difficult to predict either of these two to lose. Normally, you'd kind of go with the home side and the home advantage, but Forest are so strong defensively. I don't want to take a nil effing nil because Bournemouth press so well and they're so good going forward. So I wanted the 1-1. I'll take a Desmond then, but I cannot have either of these teams losing this week, even though one of them might. Let's move on to Birmingham. Birmingham are in League One, and they're playing Wrexham coming up. But I need to talk about Brighton versus Everton. And Everton, annoyingly, have hired David Moyes, which means I think they're going to start picking some points up. So I'm going to go for another draw here. And I'm first up, so I'll take the 1-1 here. I'm sure a lot of people will have a home win and Brighton favourites, but I just think here comes Moyes. Here comes some low margin draws.
Yeah, I'm going for a completely different school of thought here. I'm going for a chaos game. I'm going Brighton 3, Everton 2. Brighton have never doubled Everton in their history, but I'm backing them to do it here. They had a good win on the opening day of the season at Goodison. So much attacking talent, and they've got a few players back fit, and they've also been a lot more solid in the last couple of games. A clean sheet at Portman Road, and then just one conceded in that win at Old Trafford. Everton are definitely back, and David Moyes is certainly back, but I can't see them getting anything here.
What's the most difficult game in the league? Liverpool away. Who's going there this weekend? Ipswich.
Yeah, unfortunate timing after that pretty disastrous 6-0 defeat against Manchester City, whereas Liverpool were doing what champions do away at Brentford, just grinding out a result when it looked like they weren't going to get one. I expect that because of the Champions League, they played against Lille on Tuesday night. They got the win in that game without playing particularly well either. I expect that Arne Slot will rotate. I think that's sensible with the Carabao Cup game coming up and Champions League and just, let's face it, more difficult games than Ipswich at home. So I think we might see the likes of Harvey Elliott and Jarrell Kwanzaa, but it's still going to be a brilliant Liverpool side. But without Diogo Jota, who is out injured again, Ipswich will be on high alert, I imagine, after that defeat at Manchester City, and might be a first start for Jadon Philogene. And we now have Enciso. We've got lots of exciting, tricky, attacking wide forwards and number 10s, haven't we? But yeah, I can't imagine they'll have loads of the ball in this game. But I am probably going against the grain here, Ben. I'm going for just a pretty routine 2-0 Liverpool win here.
Yeah, agree with all your logic. I've gone 3-0 Liverpool, which kind of feels exactly halfway between kind of just losing and getting hammered. I agree with you. There's lots for Liverpool to do. And at this point, a game against Ipswich, I guess they just want to win it. And if it's 1-0 or if it's 10-0, they won't care. I'm sure they're going to be so heavy favourites with the bookies. It's not even funny. So we'll get a lot of home wins predicted in the comments. I would love it not to be a home win, but I can't see it. And the real quiz for Ipswich is at home to Southampton next week. Speaking of Southampton, they're at home to Newcastle, who we already mentioned in the Bournemouth bit, Mikey. Hell of a win for Bournemouth up at Newcastle. Newcastle are going to need a reaction here. Southampton, we've been, saying, they're kind of already down. And I think people are going into dead and buried language and parlance now as it pertains to Southampton. So I'm going to predict an away win here, and I'm going to go for Newcastle to bounce back and win 2-0.
Okay, yeah, I'm also unsurprisingly going for the Newcastle win here, but I'm going to attempt a bonus point. I'm going to go for a 4-1 away win for Newcastle. If they're going to be in with a shout of being in the Champions League, they must win games like this, and I fully expect them to fairly comfortably.
Wolves versus Arsenal. This is Matheus Cunha's audition before hopefully going to Arsenal at the end of the season. I'll stop being completely biased in this show. Wolves Arsenal.
Yeah, Wolves do seem to be in a bit of a mess, and you do worry for them. Well, the neutral and Wolves fans will worry for them if Matheus Cunha does end up leaving this January. He's been such an important player for them in the last couple of years and carried them at times this season. Arsenal just simply need the winning run to end all winning runs, don't they? If they're going to have any chance of overhauling Liverpool, who, as we mentioned, are unlikely to drop points this weekend. They have a good recent record at Molineux Arsenal. They've won 8 of their last 10 there, and I think they'll get the job done again. But with a narrow margin, I'm going Wolves 1, Arsenal 2.
It's a scribble. I had Arsenal kind of just getting it done, and Wolves traditionally this season have been very bad defensively, but often score, don't they? So I thought 2-1 would work, especially without, Saka and Jesus, and before they signed Cunha, and he's available to them. So I'll add on an extra goal, Mikey. Sorry, Wolves fans. Cunha's a brilliant player, by the way. That's the whole reason for this conversation. I'll go 3-1 then, Mikey, but I was going to take the 2-1. We're going to move on to Manchester City versus Chelsea. And Manchester City are kind of back, aren't they? At time of recording, where are they off to, Mikey? PSG? Is that
PSG? That's quite a big one, isn't it? In the Champions League.
Is that tonight? Yeah. So you'd imagine quite a bit of balancing for Pep to do here, but it feels like compared from maybe when we last spoke, Mikey, where I would be predicting an away win here, that things have swung back round to the normal orthodoxy here. I will play for a bonus point. I'm going to play home win, both teams to score, and I'm going to go 3-2 to Man City.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. It's not a scribble for me, but it's not far off. I'm going Manchester City 3, Chelsea 1. Really fascinating game, this one, isn't it? Because it's two brilliant teams who are a little bit flawed. And obviously you have the Guardiola and Maresca relationship, and of course
Hmm.
the sub narrative of Cole Palmer going back to Manchester City, and he's up against Phil Foden, who has recaptured some of his best form in recent games. So yeah, Maresca versus Guardiola, Palmer versus Foden, and Manchester City versus Chelsea, ending in a 3-1 win for City.
Here's a Herman Haridason shaped open goal for you, Mikey. Crystal Palace versus Brentford.
Love it. Always love to hear that name come up. One of my all-time favourite players, and it's so unfortunate for him that he's just associated with relegations, because he was actually a really fantastic defender for Ipswich, at least, wasn't he? Palace, since we last spoke, have really picked up, haven't they? Lost just 2 of their last 14 in the league. Losing Trevor Chalobah to Chelsea's definitely a blow. Richards has come in and he fits that right-sided centre-back position, but is a little bit of a downgrade on Chalobah in most respects. Brentford pushed Liverpool hard, as we mentioned last week, and their games this season have produced 79 goals. I think this is a bit of a weird stat, but if they manage to score in this game, they'll become just the 3rd team in Premier League history to score and concede 40-plus goals in a season.
Already?
Yeah, already. Yeah. So
Wow.
there was a Spurs team that did it at some point, and that's not a surprise, is it? If I was going to say, guess what team has done this, you'd probably go for Spurs, wouldn't you?
Surely under Harry
Leeds
Redknapp as
Leeds
well.
also did it a couple of years ago.
I need a prediction, Mikey.
Oh, sorry, Ben. I'm going for
It's in the
Crystal.
title of the show.
Yeah, I'm going for Palace 2, Brentford 1.
I, I'm toying with the idea of a draw here. I think it's low scoring. I think it's low margin. Get this one on your bingo card. Brentford better at home than they are away. Um, my instinct is to play a 1-1 here, Mikey, and that there's not a lot between the two, and they'll both kind of take it and try and take points off teams beneath them in the table. So I will play the 1-1, but I do quite like your 2-1, to be blindly honest. Tottenham versus Leicester. Well, Tottenham are this bad at the moment, but Leicester are this bad, and it's like 7 defeats on the trot. And we were sort of discussing on the Blue Monday podcast whether Ipswich don't need to actually look down despite losing 6-0 when the team directly below them has lost 7 games on the trot. So I'm going to back Tottenham. We'd expect both teams to score. We'd expect goals. And I'll go for Tottenham to win this one by 2-1.
Okay, yeah, I'm going for Tottenham to win 3-1. This is a bit of a lose-lose game for Ange Postecoglou, isn't it? I mean, lose, and he's definitely a big loser, and the same if he draws. But if he wins, yeah, it's only Leicester. Feels like he's going to get that Carabao Cup second leg against Liverpool at least, though. So he's going to be around for a couple more weeks, whatever happens. But yeah, Leicester 7 defeats in a row. They must turn things around, and we're better to do it than Tottenham. But yeah, I can't see it.
Aston Villa versus West Ham, Mikey.
Yeah, Villa much harder to predict this season, aren't they? But they are on another long unbeaten run at home, but it's just maybe slightly less impressive than the one last season because of the 10 unbeaten games. There's been 4 draws in that, but they showed really good character last week at Arsenal. They know how to get the ball into the box, but they just concede a lot more goals than they were last year. West Ham, on the other hand, worryingly flat against Crystal Palace. And Graham Potter, after getting that win in his first game, you wonder whether that new manager bounce has already gone, because that was a really poor performance and a difficult atmosphere at the end of that game for West Ham. Centre forward just continues to be a problem for them, and they don't have Jared Bowen to step into those shoes at the moment, which is why I'm going for a routine Aston Villa win 2-0.
Well, I was wondering whether I was going to go with the Champions League because they went off to Monaco, didn't they, last
They
night? Villa.
did, but it was Tuesday, wasn't it? And
Yeah,
this
so I
is
wondered whether I
a
was.
Sunday game.
Yeah, I think you might have persuaded me otherwise, to be honest, with your Villa home stats and, with that time span. So I'm going to double you up then, mate. I'll go for Villa to win this one. And I don't fancy West Ham to score, given what you said about strikers. And I don't fancy 3-0. So I'm only really left with 1-0. So I'll take Villa to win this one 1-0. Fulham, Manchester United. I don't know where Manchester United fit on our, probably somewhere in between Spurs and Leicester. I don't know. You tell me in the comments. I've got to really back Fulham in this one, haven't I? Because when Manchester United tend to win, it tends to be a surprise against a team that is seemingly much, much better than them. And against just decent Premier League teams that are well coached and haven't been rubbish for a couple of years, they tend to lose, don't they? And they're off to Fulham here. So I'm going to back Fulham to win this one. Is it both teams to score, Mikey? I don't think so. 2-0 Fulham.
Okay, I'm glad you decided it isn't, because I've gone for Fulham 2, Manchester United 1.
That was
Fulham
close.
haven't. It was close, very close. Fulham have an awful record, Ben, at home to Manchester United over the years, and that includes the recent years where United have had their struggles. But I fancy Fulham in this one. Emil Smith Rowe has recaptured his early season form. United just so fragile at the moment, confidence wise, and they're so
Quote,
glued to
the
that system.
worst United team ever, yeah?
Yeah. So Ruben Amorim says, yeah, I think Fulham probably favourites for this one. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going
very,
2-1.
yeah, very, very much so. Get your predictions in the comments. That is our 10 for round 23. Normal deal, copy and paste from the description. Get them in up there. 1 point for a correct outcome. Give yourself 3 points for a correct scoreline and 4 for a bonus point if your game has got 5 or more goals. Mikey's spoiling us here with Brighton 3, Everton 2, Southampton 1, Newcastle 4. I've gone in with Man City 3, Chelsea 2 as well. So there's some potential, hopefully, for some bonus points. Guys, you were fantastic with your support for Mikey before things happened. So if you want to wish him congratulations in the comments, then do so. If you want to just get your predictions in, that's fine. And the bare minimum is hit the thumbs up on this damn video. And we will see you for the next one next week.